Hello, I am Lincoln, or as I once said,
No, I'm Lincoln.
God, I was so annoying back then. Anyways, it's been 2 years now. I don't intend on doing this every year, because I chose to start this over Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which was such a nothing game to start it on. I mean, it's a cool Mario game, but I've barely talked about it at all, and I've simultaneously said everything I feel like I have to say on it. So, I feel like the rest of the anniversaries I'm going to be talking about something else and not just talking about Mario Wonder again. But I will this time, just to get the last of my thoughts, and then I can stop talking about Mario Wonder for the next 91 days. So, just to recap, Mario Wonder released in 2023 as the first 2D platformer to release after everyone started hating the underrated new Super Mario Bros. Series. That's essentially everything I said in the previous discussions. I also mentioned how I used to not like the ending, but looking back, the ending is exactly what's to be expected of a Mario game, and it's not as out of place as I once thought it was. Has 3 main power-ups: the drill, allows you to drill like the drills in Mario Galaxy 2, the bubble flower, which is essentially just a baby Yoshi, and the elephant power-up, which isn't really as interesting as it sounds. It has many unique gameplay upgrades, including the Wonder Flower, which basically turns every course into a new, separate mini course inside of it, which are pretty neat, but kind of grow generic after a while. It starts out doing stuff like making the pipes turn alive, but then it starts doing stuff like tilting the room slightly, and just generally less interesting things as the game goes on. And even when something weird happens, you eventually just stop realizing that stuff is weird, and just stuff is happening, and it just feels like another Mario Wonder level. It has many characters, but they all play exactly the same, which I understand why they did that, and why it's technically a good idea. I kind of would have preferred Super Mario 3D World or Super Mario Bros. 2 style powers and stats. However, there are the Yoshis who play like a Yoshi game, but they don't take damage, and I don't know why they do that. And then there's Nabbit, but nobody cares. Its art style is amazing, and I'll stand by that. The game is by no means a bad game, or a poorly made game, but you know that if in the hype of another long-awaited 2D platforming type game, and you end up having to talk about this game, and it just kind of feels messed up to talk about a game of this quality when said other 2D platforming game is out, I feel like that's a good sign that you didn't go the full way. The other game is Silk Song, by the way. It's absolutely Silk Song. I'd be out of things to talk about for this had that Nintendo Direct yesterday not happened. But it did, so oh boy, let's take a look at this. The Switch 2 version of the game is going to be called Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Meet Up in Bella Park. One of its main attractions is the new multiplayer mode, which houses a lot of new cooperative and competitive minigames. The objectives in these minigames include collecting coins, fighting to the death, tag, hot potato, weird Mario Maker crossover thing, and a rhythm game. I think this concept is pretty neat. However, if you look at this icon for a level, you might notice something strange about it. That's Rosalina. She's not normally in this game, so that means they're adding new characters, and that's pretty neat. You know, back before the game released, I used to think that they should have added Wario, Waluigi, Rosalina, Pauline, and Green Toad, so that the character roster can be split up into groups of 4 similar characters, similar to how there are 4 Yoshis in the game, when that makes more Yoshis than any other kind of character. I like how it would make the character select screen seem more balanced, and also add new characters, which is something people would want. Speaking of new characters, this upgrade is adding a new campaign to the game with the Koopalings, which is pretty neat, but that's not really what catches my interest. What catches my interest is that Captain Toad tent. You know, it would be really interesting to have 2D Captain Toad levels that function through rotating the level to try to get you through it, similarly to some Sonic bonus stages. I think that would be a really neat idea for them to add. This upgrade seems pretty neat, but again, I've run out of things to talk about. So I have the feeling I'm not really going to talk about this game, at least for the next 91 days.